90% of creators are not looking at this metric, and they absolutely should be. Alright, I think every YouTube creator should be data-driven. YouTube gives us so much information to help us make better content. We'd be silly not to make use of it. But there is a problem, and there is downsides to all of that data in that you can easily get lost in the sheer amount of data they give you. So understanding the right data to be looking at and understanding signal from noise is absolutely crucial to your journey as a creator. So let me walk you through the 5 most important metrics you should be studying to understand your channel better. I'm Callum, YouTube strategist for HeyFriends, and I've created over 500 million views on the platform, and I put a lot of that down to understanding data and using it to make better content. So let's get into it. But before we get into the first graph, let me explain one thing. I'm going to pull up a good example and a bad example of each graph, and I want you to take a look at them and break it down and really understand what is going on with your channel. There might be some of these signals that are incredibly strong. There might be some that are weaker, and for each of them, I'm going to explain how you can work on that metric. So let's get into it. For number 1, it might sound really simple, but we're going to pull up a simple views graph. So let's jump into YouTube Analytics, and we're going to go into advanced mode and make sure that we're on the last 90 days view. And then finally, you click on this total button down the bottom. Now we're trying to understand the way views are coming into our channel. This might sound really simple, but don't overlook this. The pattern of this graph is really important. First of all, I want to show you what is a good example. This is from a strong channel. It's got a lot of momentum and they're doing a lot of views. And you can see here that there are loads of different spikes, and each of them is a video upload. So on the first day, you typically get more views than you do on other days. What I want to understand is how strong the baseline is, how our back catalog is doing, how many views we're getting between those spikes. Now here is a good example and here is a bad example. You can see that on the strong example, we have those spikes. They're coming regularly. We can see our upload schedule is regular. You can see there's a couple of areas where a video has really popped off, or 1 or 2 videos has really popped off. We might want to dive into a little bit more detail on that area later, but you can understand that there's a strong baseline. That's showing me that their channel is healthy. The one below is a very new channel, and so there isn't a load of momentum. There's not a load of baseline views of just a few videos that are ticking over, getting a few hundred views a day, and really just carrying the channel. This second channel is more reliant on new uploads. And that's one thing to understand. Where are you in this journey? So the 2 things we're trying to understand is how big are our peaks when we upload a video, and how good is our baseline. If you have a strong baseline, that is great. If you don't, you need to keep uploading more videos and make sure you're utilizing end cards. This is something where you can create a rabbit hole for a viewer to go down. If they discover one of your videos for the first time, they will then want to watch several. Let's get into metric number 2. Now this is new versus returning viewers. So if we go into analytics, we go into more metrics, and then we're going to go to new viewers. Then once you add one metric, you can add a second, and then you get returning viewers. Now this is a new, weaker channel. You can see that we're doing a decent job on new viewers, but a bad job on returning viewers. If your graph looks like this, it's probably because you have a low subscriber number or a low monthly view number where you haven't got that baseline of returning viewers. That's something you need to work on next. But this graph is from a stronger channel. You can really see that their views are carried by returning viewers. They've got an audience that understand them, that turn up every time, and they've really built a community around their channel. Those are the 2 extremes of this. You either have a channel that is carried by new viewers, so you need to be shooting for bigger, better ideas, or you have a channel that is carried by returning viewers. Now, both have their positives and negatives, but if you have no returning viewers, really work on building a community. Work on doubling down on the content that's doing well, and really try and get some momentum going in your uploads. Concentrate on a bucket and really nail down what is the value proposition and how you can create more of those. If you have loads of returning viewers and you're not doing a great job on new viewers, then maybe you need to try some ideas that are a bit different, that have the potential to reach a wider audience, that might pull in more viral videos. Now, this is something you should try sparingly. You don't want to go too different that you put off your existing audience. This is something you should try in an experimental video that you release every couple of weeks or every 4 weeks, something like that. just to test the waters, to see if you're leaving new viewers out there that you're not appealing to. The next graph we're going to look at is one of my favorites. It's the one I use the most to understand how a channel is doing at reaching audiences and pulling in viewers. Now, what a load of YouTubers don't understand is there is not one algorithm. There are several that work together inside YouTube, and each of them are pulling in viewers from different places on the platform, and therefore your content is going to resonate with some of those better than others. I love looking at this graph to really understand how our videos are performing. So let's dive in. There are several places views can come from on the platform: browse, suggested, YouTube search, channel pages, the trending tab, loads of these. For each of them, there's subtly different viewer behaviors. So let's walk through these. Browse. This is traffic from the homepage, and they're mainly viewers that have seen your content before, broadly. They understand who you are, they might have watched a few videos. This also includes the subscription feed where that is definitely the case. Then they're suggested. These are videos that are recommended below other videos. So where someone might be watching another channel about how to create videos to appeal to the algorithm, this video might be below them, and often video views from those places have higher watch time because there's similarity in the content. They've just watched a video that's similar, they're now watching yours, they might be more engaged. Then there is YouTube search. If you're a how-to channel, this might be a load of your traffic. People searching for how do I do this, how do I do that? And if you're ranking up the top of there, you will get a load of views from the search feed. Now there's a question here. How do I use this to inform my content? Well, it comes from understanding what these viewers are doing when they're coming from these places. Normally, on long form videos, most of your views will come from browse. I don't know, 40 to 60%. Then there's suggested, which can be anywhere from 20 to 40%, recommended below other videos. And then there's places like YouTube search and channel pages where you'll get a few percent, and there'll be loads more below that. We need to understand how our content is doing in those places. So first of all, let's look at browse. On this channel, which is a new channel, it is at 57% from browse, strong. Then we're going to look at our view duration. It's 3 minutes 46, and we're going to compare that to the channel average, 4 minutes and 3. Okay, that's fairly similar. Browse is probably most of the time going to be lower than average. This is fairly strong. People, when they come from browse, are watching your videos. Great. Then look at your click-through rate. 3.9% compared to a channel average of 2.8. That's strong. That's above average. That's okay. I do have a few benchmarks from most of the channels I've seen to understand what these click-through rates should be. On browse, about 7% is strong. Anything above that is very strong. Now, on this channel, I would recommend we really need to focus on the thumbnails to improve this. The thumbnails, titles, packaging ideas to improve on this click-through rate. Suggested, around 2 to 2.5% is strong. On this channel, we're slightly below that at 1.4. So again, that's reaffirming our thought about packaging and ideas and titles and thumbnails. But when they come from suggested, they're watching a long time, 4 minutes 10, which is above the 4 minutes and 3 seconds that we've got here. So we're retaining viewers from suggested. We need to work on the click-through rate. Then there's YouTube search, 4%, almost no traffic from YouTube search. And then the view duration's okay, and the click-through rate's like okay. On search, about 8% is good. And then on your graph, if you also include shorts, then there will be shorts feed percentages there for you to look at. So really what I'm using this graph to understand is I'm using browse and suggested to see how well we're appealing to our existing audience and how well we're appealing to new audiences. The majority of new viewers will come from suggested, and the majority of existing viewers will come from browse. That isn't a hard and fast rule, but these are numbers you can use to inform your thumbnail, title, idea strategy for new versus returning viewers, so we can get the previous graph we've just looked at to look a little bit better. Now, metric number 4, this is going to be really important. I'm sure you've heard people saying that longer viewers are doing better, viewers are coming from TV more now. People are pushing to longer average view durations, and that seems to be being rewarded by the algorithm right now. But are you sacrificing overall retention? There is a balance here that needs to be struck. So this is the next graph. So let's go back into content and then change this to average view duration. We're going to look at this channel is a little bit all over the place. We're going to look at how long people are retained. Now, this says to me that this creator is a little bit sporadic with their content, not amazingly consistent with the quality of the content. So this is what a week graph looks like. It's a little bit all over the place. It varies a lot. If we look at this one, this is from a bigger channel where they are much more consistent. They've got more videos on the channel, so this is going to flatten out. It's not going to be as spiky. But we can see that the average view duration is quite strong for the content they're making. But there's one more step I want to look into. If we go into the secondary metric, then more metrics, we can then add in average percentage viewed. So we've got these two metrics that almost oppose each other. There is average view duration. How many minutes and seconds is the average viewer watching your content for? Then there is average percentage viewed, which is how far through your video are they getting. So if your video is an hour long and they're only getting 5 minutes in, you're not going to get a whole load of percentage, but you'll get 5 minutes of view duration. Whereas if your video is 5 minutes, that's 100% average view percentage. You can see how the two trade off each other. So I like to look at this graph to really understand, are they getting more view duration by just making their videos longer? Or are they retaining the viewer to the end of the video better? So where these graphs are together, you can see here, these are going up and down together. That tells me they're doing a similar job, but the video lengths are going up and down. Whereas here, you can see that the percentage viewed is getting better where the view duration is also staying static. So this is a good signal for the content at that time. If we look at this next graph, this is from a stronger channel. You can see that the two track each other, but where they start to diverge, that's worth looking at the content to see what you were doing there. Were you doing a better job? Were you doing a worse job? Were your videos much longer? How did the viewers resonate with those? And I'm really using those graphs to understand how are you retaining your audience. Now, number 5 is average views per viewer. 90% of creators are not looking at this metric, and they absolutely should be. It's an incredible sign of how healthy your channel is. YouTube defines this as the average number of times a viewer watched any video on your channel. When you're in this channel graph, it tells you loads of things in one. It tells you how well is the channel retaining an audience. Are they watching for months and months on end? Are they watching several videos per month? All of this stuff is wrapped up in it. Are people engaged? Is the quality of the content good? Is it resonating with the audience? How bingeable is your content? Around 1.2 to 2 is fairly typical for most channels. On this channel, we're sitting around 1.2, which is okay. On some really great channels where they've nailed their value proposition, they have a committed core audience, this will be up around 2 to 2.5. That says you're doing a great job at getting people to watch more of your videos every 30 days. But some of the best channels, the ones that are growing the quickest, a few that pop to mind are people like Ryan Trahan, Mr. Beast, Matt Armstrong in the car world, Outdoor Boys. I reckon their average views per viewer are up in the 4 to 6 range. They're doing an incredible job at putting out a lot of content and getting people to watch the next video after next video after next video, which extends their session time, which is incredible signals to the algorithm that people are loving this content and it should be pushed to more people. If you want to really grow your channel, this is a metric you should work on. How are you going to work on it? You're going to make sure that each of your videos follow a similar format. People are getting similar rewards for watching. The value proposition is similar. A few ways of saying the same thing there. You're also going to work on getting people to watch the next video. This can be improved. I've improved this on channels by just getting them to work on clicking on that end card, really doing a hard sell at the end of the video to get them to watch the next one. Choose a video there. If they've watched your video, they're going to really enjoy that, and really push them into that content to get them down a rabbit hole of videos on your channel. That can really improve this number. Then above that, it's just really about nailing down offering value consistently on your channel with a consistent upload schedule to the same audience, and this number will rise. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.